Yes, yes, y'all. What it do, y'all? 1, 2, y'all. Welcome back to the Klyph Notes podcast. And Happy New Year. It's the first episode of 2021. So excited to have y'all back with me as we enter this new year. So grateful to everyone who's shared the podcast. It's been a good year, man. 2020. People were messing with us, of course, here in the States, but then also international. It's crazy going back to look at the stats, man. It's not surprising our biggest audience is right here in Portland, in Oregon. And we heavy in the Northwest, man. Yakima, Pasco, Kennewick. But then we have folk rocking with us from San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. And then on the East Coast, DC, New York, LA. Folk in Columbus, Seattle, Tacoma, Denver. I see y'all and I appreciate y'all for real, man. You know, it is not lost on me that people been messing with us from all over the world, which is just huge, man. I'm super humbled. Folk in India, Bangladesh, the UK, Ireland, Pakistan, Germany, Nepal, Spain, Singapore. 2020 was a great year and really looking forward to more here in 2021. So we're kicking it off like this, man. Excited to have you check out this interview I did with the homie Surebert, Portland producer, DJ, sometimes MC. I think you're gonna really dig this one. Check out the latest episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Support for the Klyph Notes podcast comes from Akepele Apparel, an idea born from a love of hip-hop, funk, and soul music and its surrounding cultures. With fashion being a huge visual part of the cultures, they've created expressive images to pay homage, invoke nostalgia, and showcase the elements that make up the lifestyle and cultures of these genres. Akepele, apparel for the music lifestyle. For more information, check out akepele.com. That's AKEPELE.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show you're about to listen to may contain explicit content. So guess what? You need to put them babies to sleep. This is for grown folks only. So we're not held liable for anything you might be offended by. Thank you for listening.
Yes, y'all. Welcome to the first episode of the Klyph Notes podcast in the year 2021. It's crazy, man, that we are, finally here after really looking forward to getting out of 2020. Hoping and praying for better days, man, for real. It's been crazy to just have experienced that and everything that that went along with that. But we're here in 2021 and excited for this episode because for a number of reasons. One, because I have an opportunity to chop it up with a good dude and a really amazing artist in terms of production. And then as I'm prepping for the interview, I'm realizing that there's more to this cat than the production that I've been enjoying over time. So that's going to be interesting to get into. But then also, it's just dope to have an opportunity to show love, man. I've been on that real heavy recently, man. Just giving folk their flowers while they can appreciate them. And this is a cat who's supported really everything that I've done with DJ Klyph Productions ever since we've been connected. And so to publicly have an opportunity to say how much I appreciate it, it's really cool to do that. But without any further ado, man, let them know who you are.
Hey, my name is Surebert. People call me Bert. And I want to publicly announce my gratitude for you and everything you've done on with just everything and with DJ Klyph Productions. So yeah, man, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So I was trying to think back to where we got connected, and I recall us first getting connected just via an email. You shot me an email with the joint that you released, and you was like, "Yo, I released this project. Listen to it. If you dig it, you could play it on the show. This, that, and the third." And I was like, "Yo, thanks." And then I listened to it, and I was really taken, man. Like, you got like your ear for like the way that you make music like speaks to my heart, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just your production style is so dope, bro, for real.
Thank you. And actually, I think that might have been the first time I reached out to you, but I know the first time I like physically came up and like shook your hand was at a mic check in like 2018 maybe, and I'd found out, I think I'd known about you before, but like I had more of a connection once. C Goods made like a Instagram group of like Portland producers and like Portland adjacent producers. And I was like, man, I'm honored to just be included in this because, like, you know, especially like 2017, 2018, I was still kind of getting into the scene. So like to have C Goods be like, oh yeah, you know, you're in here with, you know, all these other dope producers that I've always like been like, man, I wish I was like them. So it was super cool. So that was my in to be like, hey Klyph, nice to meet you, man. I'm in that producer group, so I ain't no bullshit. You know?
No doubt, bro. Well, I do remember. I mean, I don't even know if I remember that first time, but I remember a number of times that you came to mic check and would just show love, man. And again, I want to say how much I appreciate that, because I think, I mean, and I know that it's one of the things that I've experienced just moving through, you know, life, and there are so many great things to take part in and so many events to check out, and you know, it's hard to kind of hit up everything. And so whenever folk took the time out of their day to come and rock with us, I really, really appreciated it. But it's dope to just have grown how our relationship has grown, you know, over time. And I've just really enjoyed, like I said, man, just what you do. So let's start with that, man. Just in terms of production. And I think if people are connected with you via social media, you definitely share, you know, some of the influences of your production style, but speak more specifically to, you know, sort of the foundation or where your ear developed.
You know, like to go way back, the earliest, you know, like when I was just like found myself intrigued by music was, you know, the oldies radio station at the time, you know, would play Motown and doo-wop and you know, even just early soul stuff, you know, like Otis Redding, you know, Sam and Dave, stuff like that. And it's just like, that's when I really got into like how music sounded instead of just, you know, it's just music. It was like, I really like how this sounds. So I think it definitely, you know, I'm never not going to like want to sample soul and stuff, because like that's just my jam, is like is funk and soul and like all that stuff, like horns and like funky guitars, like all that stuff. But with production, like actually wanting to make beats, I attribute it honestly to People Under the Stairs. When I heard Original Soundtrack, that album like was, I've said it before, and it's music that I wanted to make. Like I was like, I want to do this. Like it's not just you know, other people are doing this. I was like, this is it's within grasp. Like it's something I can do. And you know, they're talking about stuff I like to do. I never had an interest in being a rapper, but the beats were always just what made me love it, and especially the samples. You know, even I hate on the instrumentation I play in my drums sometimes, but I take pride in my samples and my chops and my ear on that. So like, you know, I will not doubt my skills in that, at least.
No doubt. So then like hearing it and then beginning or getting into the process of actually, you know, creating music. So where did you start in terms of like the equipment that you use, the software that you use?
So I started in high school. I was probably 17. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure I got my first turntables before I set up my first like computer production thing.
Okay.
So I had like a Newmark like belt drive DJ setup, one of those like box things where it comes with everything all at once.
Yep.
So I got one of those. Yeah, exactly. So I had that. And I lived out in Montana at the time. I was raised in Montana, Bozeman, Montana. So there was like one record store. And at the time, Fat Beats was operating online, and UGAHH, Underground Hip Hop, was. So I was buying hella records off there, and then I'd buy whatever was at the record store. So it was super dope because it was very like hip hop purist approach, because I wasn't, I was finding stuff online, but a lot of it was, this cover looks dope, or I've heard, I'm looking at the, the producers on it or something, or a featured artist, and like, right. I'm just getting into stuff through that instead of other things. And so that was super cool to just, it was my thing. It was like, a lot of my friends liked hip hop, but I was like in love with hip hop. Yeah. So like, that was my shit. Yeah.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. And it's funny because those are, I think, the things that we commonly hear with great producers through the years. I mean, that's where it starts. It starts with just having an eye for an album cover, or like you mentioned, I know that I like this drummer who played on this other record. Oh, look, he played on this record. Well, let me get that one. And that's where digging, I mean, that's where it came from, because, oftentimes we didn't hear a lot of this music elsewhere. We didn't hear it on the radio. Maybe we didn't have access to those radio stations that were playing that music. I gotta speak. It's funny, man. You talked about always feeling like you'll always sample soul records, and I was just thinking in the last couple of weeks, one of the great things about people who produce stylistically like you do is tapping into that music that to me truly is timeless. Music that is it's not something that I necessarily hear being played like I used to now, being created like I used to now. And so to be able to go back and just celebrate this great music that was made and then share it, and that's throughout the whole sampling like drama that happened, especially when everything really blew up with De La, and my gripe was always, man, you're introducing this music to a whole new generation. Like, why not embrace that? Anyway, that's my little bit of a rant.
Man, so just real quick, because I didn't actually get to the production part. So I did start after DJing for a while, doing house parties and shit. I got Fruity Loops, like got the illegal rip of Fruity Loops, and started making beats on that. And that's, like a lot of people, that was their first stepping stone. And it is super easy to learn on it. It's like one of those, it's a step sequencer, so you can just click shit in, So yeah, I made some stale ass beats on that thing, but like that was a good like starting point. And then in maybe 2010, 2011, I got the first Machine, like right when Machine came out. And then I've just been on Machine ever since after that. So
oh, that's what's up, man. It's fun. I know a number of folk who use Machine. I've never actually worked with Machine. It seems like it's fairly intuitive, yet there's so much that you can do with it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still learning lots of things, and I found there's things that I learned. I'm like, man, I've been doing a workaround for that for 8 years, and I don't need to do a workaround. There's a button for it. Like,
wow, that's crazy, bro. So then let's go back a little bit more then, because this is something that I just learned. You mentioned you started off DJing. I didn't realize you was DJing.
Yeah,
but you were like touring DJing.
Oh yeah. I've been touring. I mean, especially out Montana, because you can only do so many shows in Montana. Like the best thing to do is tour and get your name out there. So we were doing tours on the regular. I'm trying to think of, One Below. We were touring with Low a few times. Wow. Lucky I Am. There's a few other people. But yeah, so it was really cool to learn that way too, because especially being out in Montana, there's not a lot of like real hip hop shit going on. So to like actually learn from real hip hoppers, it's like, man, there's so much more going on than what I thought.
No doubt, man. So then you transitioned here to the Northwest. How long you been basing yourself out of Portland?
I've been here since 2015. I was born out here. I was born in Gresham, or Clackamas, I guess technically.
Okay.
But I was born out here, and then moved out to Montana, moved back out here, moved back out to Montana. So a little bit of both, and I've always like prided myself in being from Portland, being like the city person. And I'd always come visit out here, visit family and stuff. and was always a Blazers fan. And once I got into hip hop, I was like, Sandpeople and Cool Nuts and Lifesavers. And I'm like, you guys don't know this shit. Like, this is my shit, Yeah.
No doubt, B. And that's one of the things. It's funny. I had Cool Nuts on Welcome to the Neighborhood last night, and we were talking about that. The fact that there is so much great music historically based out of Portland, in the hip hop genre that folks still aren't aware of, even locally. Like, even people here in Portland or in the Portland area don't necessarily appreciate all the great talent that is right here in the Portland area. As a creative, as an artist, what's been your experience in terms of getting recognition? I shouldn't even say not recognition in like trying to get everybody to praise you, but just people to recognize here in your city that you're here making music.
Man, it's crazy because like coming out here, I moved out here with my friend David Dalla was his rap name. His real name's David Dalla Gasparina, but like it's a clever rap name, I guess, but it does sound super typical rap name. So me and my homie David, we moved out here together because he actually is from Portland and went to college in Montana in Bozeman, and someone linked us up because they're like, hey, this rapper needs a DJ up in Big Sky. I'd never DJ'd for a rapper ever before, and met him through that. And ever since then, we just clicked. He was a fan of the same Portland shit that I liked, and we just became like best friends, and we still are. And so we moved out here to kind of keep doing music. So we've done really all we could in Montana, and we wanted to keep doing it. And he eventually kind of got into another job, like and just got really occupied, and it's all good, and we're still homies. But like I had that drive. I was like, man, I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to do this. Yeah. So I really built on myself as a solo artist because I wasn't really doing that in Montana. It was always David Dalla and Surebert, or if I was DJing at a bar or something. But I wasn't like pushing myself as an artist. I wasn't putting my face out there. So yeah, coming out to Portland, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. There's a beat scene here. There's like an actual, I can get in doing that stuff and not have to work with rappers. Because that's the other thing. I can't just be a producer in Montana and like, no one's going to come out to beat nights and shit. It just doesn't pop off like that. So I still just was super new to that. I learned about Thirsty City, I think was the first one I learned about. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to Northern Draw just through like Facebook or something and sent him some of my stuff, and he put me on a show just like that. And that was the first show I ever had out here, the first like connect of anything, other than knowing a couple artists out here from touring previously. Yeah. But after doing that, he welcomed me in. I played with some other dope artists I'm still connected with today, and like it was just so, I don't know, man. It's crazy because I went there by myself. It's just something that I went there by myself with my machine and everything, and just met all these people that are just all producers. And it blew my mind. It was just never something I've interacted with. And ever since then, I worked more on my live sets. I saw how everyone else was doing live sets, like to keep it interesting and fun. And so I kept working on that, finding more things like, like a beat happening and, mic check, and there's like just so many events out here that are going on. And so just getting in with those people, it was almost effortless, besides me putting effort into my music, like because people are so like people especially in the beat scene, I think, are so nice and open-minded and opening to like letting new people in, especially if you're not that good at making beats. People are happy to teach you and like help you get better. And it was just incredible the way that people invited me in, and now I feel like I'm a full-fledged like member of the beat community in Portland. Like like when I'm out and people are like, oh hey Surebert, or like people hit me up about things, it still blows my mind that people have seen me beyond me having to push my shit to them. Like it's just crazy. So yeah, shout out to all those people that like welcomed me into the community.
That's what's up, bro. Yeah. But one of the things that you said, I think is a great reason for that is that you work on your craft, you work on your music, and that's the thing that I think we have to remember is whatever we choose to do, we have to work on that. Yeah. To obviously get these other opportunities. So big ups to you for having that recognition. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then looking at the work that you've done production wise, you have a number of different projects out. And I really dig one of the things that you did, like the short and sweet sort of concept, that idea of let me give you some heat. I'm just gonna give you a little bit right here, and then just go enjoy that for a little while. Where did that idea of just kind of giving, I'm gonna give you 5 or 6 joints to just, maybe I'll have somebody do a verse on one and then just go mess with that for a minute.
When I made the first one, I don't know if I had planned on making it a series, but it's just I have a hard time like working on full projects by myself, like a 10 plus track project or something. It's hard for me to put together because I start picking at those beats and either sending them off to other people or end up hating them, or they don't mesh well. So like I kind of need to like jump on my project somewhat quick before, if I'm building a big project that doesn't have an artist involved, like a vocalist, I won't get it done. So I've been just kind of throwing like all these beats that, especially ones that I feel that vocalists can't really fit on, because that's just kind of how it works out. You make the beat first, then you go, this works as a standalone, this needs some, high end on it or something. So those beats that are like, an artist couldn't really fit on this, or I've sent it to a bunch of people and no one fucked with it, and I'm like, well, the verdict's in, no one's gonna use that beat. So it's either that or some that I just like the beat so much I want to put it out for myself. So it's just a couple of those, and then usually either a feature that I already have, or in this case, now that I'm working on those projects, I think about the feature I'm putting at the end of the project. But sometimes it's just shit I've been sitting on, like, the last Short But Sweet 3, I had that only one verse for a minute in the hook, and it actually was on a song. Man, this song is never going to come out. I worked with some artist that used to live in the Portland area in Oregon. I'm not going to mention him because kind of did me dirty, and like we were working on this big album together, and I was just like, and he just did some shicey shit. So I called it. It could have probably done some great things for me, but after talking with some other locals that like had worked with him before, it's just like, we think that you made the right call by not going through with it. So anyway, that song was originally featuring that other artist and Sky Zoo, and it had a heat ass Sky Zoo verse that he like recorded in town. We were in Vancouver. Sky Zoo came out to this little home studio, dropped the verse for us, like pro bono, no charge or anything. It was just like insane, and like so like that was dope, but it still just wasn't worth the whole album being dropped. So I still wanted to make that a track, and I loved that verse. So that's where that one came from. But it's just me throwing all my favorite stuff together and like quickly putting it out before I change my mind. And I've already got another one I'm working on, and I've got like the art done, and now I'm waiting on a feature for it. So it depends on, I have a different process for them, but it's basically just, like it's just a little showcase of stuff. And some people still take those beats, like they're like, hey, I heard that song on the first one, can I use that for something? And I'll just send them the stems, and it's already out. But it's kind of that same thing with I just recently talked with Free Tillman about J Dilla Donuts, and I'd never listened to that album until now. We did that, never heard it, and it's like those beats are also short, but every single one of them basically turned into a whole song later on, like Busta Rhymes, or someone hopped on it and stretched it out because they loved it so much. And it's just, and I kind of just look at my shit now, like, not that I planned on that, but it kind of just something like that, where I'm putting it out as a teaser to show what I can do. And if people want those beats or other beats, they can get at me,
That's what's up, man. And it's funny because, you mentioning Dilla, I've heard those stories before. I think specifically an interview that I heard with Busta where he was talking about that, where, one, he said that on every album, he's got at least a Dilla produced song.
Yep.
But Dilla would send him like just, a ton of songs, and they would just be these little snippets, and then he'd have to get with his producer, and then they would have to stretch it out, which is such a dope story. But also other producers I've talked to, I know, even talking to Love Jones, he was telling me a story of a cat who was a fan of his and actually recorded like a whole project over instrumentals that he had done, and then reached out to him, was like, yo, I did this. Is it cool if I, and I think that that's one of the great things about the art form that we all love is that does create relationships, that does create working collaborations that really just come out of being fans of one another. So I just think I love hearing stories like that. I think that's really cool. But one of the other things that I saw that you did though is I saw that you made a bunch of tracks that you'd created available to people, just put them out there and was like, yo, I'm putting these out there. Anybody who wants to rock with them, Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, the scoop loops. Yeah, that was very underwhelming because I put that out. I mean I don't know if I had anyone pick any of those up, and they were kind of like, those were like the bottom of the barrel stuff. Like the loops were dope and stuff, but I didn't really do a lot with them. I just kind of like tracked them out, and yeah, like you said, I put up like, it was like 10 or 20 something tracks, and I was just like, here, yeah, get at me if you want the stems. And the only person that got at me and made 2 songs was Creme Brulee. So shout out to Creme Brulee for making a couple of songs off those. But yeah, that one, I put it up on streaming and on SoundCloud, and I like, after having it up there, I was like, this isn't why I put this out. I don't want these to be up here for streaming. So I took it all off, and it's still like on Bandcamp if you want it. But yeah, that's all. That didn't pop off like I thought it would, but that's okay. It's good to know that I'm not like wasting my time trying to give away free beats like that.
No doubt. You mentioned a little bit before about working on creating your solo artist platform. Are there still artists are there artists that you feel like, man, I really would love to work with this individual, and then take that idea and sort of create tracks around the idea of working with an individual MC or vocalist even?
Sometimes I feel like most of that stuff comes after I've made the beat. Like if I've made a beat and then I'm like, man, this really would work good with, for example, I recently sent something off to Dante Thomas, because that dude is super underrated, by the way. I don't know if he is underrated because I don't hear a lot of people talking about him, but that dude, if we end up talking about top albums of the year, I think that dude had a killer album last year, and then the year before, Colors, I think that one was even more heat. But yeah, like for real. So I sent him some stuff recently that I was like, I feel like this could be some Dante Thomas stuff. But I do that, but most of the time I'm super open-ended with it, and I try not to like what's the word? Pigeonhole my beats. Like, oh, hey, you really like those soul samples. I'm going to send you a bunch of soul sample stuff because I want, I like when some people kind of get outside of their comfort zone on beats. But yeah, and honestly, it's been super dope to reach out to some people that I never thought would be interested on working stuff with me. Like, yeah. And I'm not trying to sell beats to people. I used to be all on the selling beats tip, but like, I do value my music, but when you're working with like artists that you really respect and stuff, there's a certain point where once you put money into the game, it's not about just making music to make music. There's a dollar sign on it, and I hate doing that. And so it's really dope when, I guess I'll shout it out now. I'm working on an album or a project or something with Equipto from San Francisco. Okay. Who's I've been listening to that dude since high school, like when I first got into hip hop, and it's just crazy that like I linked with some people down in in the Bay from touring and stuff, from even being back in Montana, and met Equipto a few times touring, but never really like connected. And then one of my friends that was on a tour with him played some of my beats in the van, and he's like, man, whose beats are these? He's like, oh, it's my friend Surebert. And he sent me a DM, was like, yo man, so and so was playing the beats. I got a shout him out. Vocab Slick, he was the one that was playing it, and like he played my beats and hit me and was like, yo man, these beats are super dope. I'm like, hey, you want to make a project? Like I was like, dude, jump on this now. Right. And actually, no, at the time I didn't. I was like, let me send you some beats. And he's down. And I did 2 tracks with him and Mike Marshall on their last album. And that was already amazing in itself. And then this year or last year, I reached out to Equipto again after their project was out. I was like, yo, I really respect all, beyond you being a rapper, the activism and stuff you do in your community is amazing. And like, I really think that it'd be dope if we because we have some sort of similarities in our communities, and definitely, the Bay and the Portland are hella linked. So I was like, I'd love to work on a project with you where the end result is something where we're giving back to our communities, and we find something like it. I don't know what it will be, but I think that would be dope if that's what we do, and it's a Bay Area Portland Connect thing. And he was all about it, and that was just what's the word? Validating. It was validating, and I feel like I hate it because I feel like I always have to validate myself. It's that whole imposter thing where I'm like, are my beats just whack shit? So just having that, to be able to reach out to someone and send them beats, someone that you've been listening to for so long, and then know that you're making something that's on par to they'd make something over it, just humbling to the highest degree.
That's what's up, man. Chopping up with Surebert. Yo, that's something that you have been, you've used your platforms to be vocal about in terms of just bringing awareness to injustice and why? Like, why is that valuable? Why is that important to you?
First off, because being raised, growing up in Montana, I had some ignorant ass views, nothing I was putting on anyone else, but just after getting out of that bubble, even just touring, it blew my mind, and I can't even begin to name all of the things that I just thought were fine, learning about. Because I was like, there's not really any racism in Montana. It's because there's nothing but white people there, and just the whole, it was everything about it. And I just look back sometimes at who I was as a person in Bozeman, and I cringe because I feel like I just was not. I was very self-centered and stuff, and so coming out to Portland and just, getting into the hip hop community as a solo artist and stuff, and just being myself, it was amazing to meet all of these people, and again, in Montana, all the people are there's a bunch of white rappers. Obviously there are other people of other races, but the people that end up dominating the hip hop scene in Montana are white men, and it's just and I didn't even, make that connection for a long time. So it's just shit like that, where I just was so blind to it, and coming out to, cities and even other cities, traveling with other people, people of color, and seeing the racism that they experience, just playing a show, we played a show in, where we were in Humboldt County, somewhere in there. And we were playing a show. Some people paid to get in just to start, saying racist shit to the people on stage. And then afterwards, when we're packing up the van, they come out and back their truck up against the curb and just kind of hang out and stare at us. And this is this is probably not nearly the worst shit that a lot of people deal with, but even just me being there in that, I'm damn, I've never experienced something like this firsthand, just being around this. So just these small instances really opened my mind to how I was just living in simple ignorance, not of I don't know. I just don't know how to describe it. I felt like I had a self-revolution, of what was important in my life, and especially if I'm pursuing hip hop as my love and my passion, I need to show my compassion for everything that is hip hop, and that's black culture, black and brown culture. And if I wasn't doing that before, I got to find more ways to do it now. So I'm trying to do what I can without just trying to show out or something. I'm not trying to virtue signal or nothing. I just want to show that these people are my fucking friends, and I just want them to live and feel safe.
That's what's up, bro. Well, big ups to you, though, because I think that's one of the things I've learned just from being on the planet as long as I have. You got to get out of your bubble, because when you stay in your bubble, that's where you have true ignorance. It's ignorant because I don't know what I don't know. Yep. And then once you're faced with that, once you understand, I realize that the world is bigger than my little circle, making the next step is making the choice to, what am I going to do with that? and owning if my thoughts and my views on life maybe were incorrect or a little bit closed-minded, being willing to say, no, I think differently. And at the end of the day, I think what it all comes down to is just doing good and living life through love. And I think that what you do now expresses that. So big ups to you for doing that and for using your platforms, for creating a voice for the voiceless, man. I think that's admirable.
Thanks. And like you said, I'm trying to put myself out as myself. Like, this is who I'm trying to, I'm showing I am a fucking caring person. It's just hard to do when you don't know the people on the other side. It's hard. It's like hard to show that you are caring about people that you don't know. So I just try to do that, and that's why I try to not like sell my music too much too. I'm not trying to make it a cash grab. I'm not trying to make it, I'm stacking X amount of dough. Like, I don't care if I make any money off this. Like, I just want to like have a good community and like make friends and make good music,
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Now, everybody who's listening, even though Surebert is talking about not, that money is not the primary focus, dude's got music out there, so you need to go to his Bandcamp and buy his music. You know what I'm saying? Support artists, man, so that artists can continue to create art. I'm gonna say that, so you don't have to say it.
Thanks, man.
So something else I wanted to talk about, bro. Like I said, man, I realized that. I think I've always realized, because I know I've said it for years, but making sure that we celebrate people while they're here to celebrate, to be celebrated and can receive it. Not on some, like, again, elevating someone above the next man, but just showing love and appreciation. And it's crazy because the last 2 weeks for me have been impactful. I did the last episode of Welcome to the Neighborhood as a dedication to Ecstasy of Houdini, who passed away. And then on New Year's Eve, find out that in October of 2020, MF Doom passed away. So then last night, I put together another show that was, celebrating the life and the art that Doom shared. But then I looked and I saw that I think it might have even been a couple years ago that you did a remix of one of his joints, and you posted a video of it that was just so dope. And I just think it's crazy that we never know, man. Life is so short. But that picking a Doom joint to remix. Obviously, you're a fan of his.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick that song? And so what was sort of the idea behind doing that?
Man, honestly, the reason I picked that one, I think I put that out earlier this year because
it was this year. Okay.
Because I took a huge break on making music, like the longest break I've ever taken. Like, I took 6 months of basically not making anything, and usually I was just on shit constantly. So, that was probably one of the first things that I made that like brought me back out of that musical slump. And I think it was because I found the video. I don't know if I was looking just for like Doom live videos or something, but it was this video called like Doom Drunken ATL, and it's him doing a couple of songs, but he's wearing the Rashid jersey, and I was like, oh man, I strictly had to remix it just because of the Rashid jersey, and that there happened to be an acapella out for Figaro, but that was the main reason. I was like, this is too perfect. I wanted to make a video for it, and then like it just all came together nicely. So
that's what's up, man. It's good to be able to look back now, and once again in these times where we're kind of looking back at his catalog and just celebrating everything that he did, and know that beforehand that you took an opportunity to do something like that. Now that's going to be out there forever for people to check out. I just think that that's dope.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
2020 was a tough, crazy year for so many of us for so many reasons, man. No need to even run down the list, but one of the things that happened in 2020 is that anyone who was doing live events, all that got shut down. And it's crazy for us. I brought back Mic Check. It was sort of crazy to figure out what to do with it once Star passed, and settled in 2020. We were going to bring it back on a regular situation, and we had Trox and OG on board, and we were doing these great things. And then the pandemic hit, and we tried to do some. Well, we did a couple of things virtually, but just really, really hard. And one of the things that you did in 2020 was you started a live event here in Portland, Cold Chillin'.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Cold Chillin', man. Like, what was the idea of doing something live, and what is Cold Chillin'?
Well, first of all, rest in peace, Cold Chillin'. No, yeah, I got 2 of them in. So yeah, I started at the beginning of 2020. So I got my January and February in. Basically, and I'm sure I feel like I might have reached out to you when I originally started this up, but it was inspired by all the other events that I had gone to, A Beat Happening and Mic Check, Thirsty City. It was kind of like a little combination of everything, just all the things that I like. And I was a little biased because it was my favorite shit too, because like I am a big beer fan, so I wasn't trying to focus it on beer, but I wanted it to be at a tap room or something where there's a wide variety of beer options. I also wanted something that was a little, chill, like in the name. I just wanted it to be kind of like a chill joint. I wanted it to end at 10 o'clock so it wasn't late. And then I wanted it to be free and not too big. Like I wanted to balance it so it wasn't like a packed out thing, but also not dead. So I kind of like searched for a few different spots. And there's this place in Southeast called Northwest IPA that I've been to before. They're a little bottle shop and tap room, and they just seem like the perfect little joint. Like I know the owners and they're cool, and their logo is NWIPA, so it's like the NWA logo. So it's like they're like slightly hip hop themed, and so it was just cool. Like it was a cool connect, and I reached out to them about it, and they were all about it. They love hip hop, and they were happy to support the community however they could. And honestly, again, I wasn't trying to make money on it. I knew I was going to lose money on it, but I was like, this will be fun. And like, I had, a list of all these people I wanted to have on it. And also I've been hosting, I don't know if you know this, I ran a trivia company for a while. I was doing bar trivia, for about 3 years. Actually, no, I ran the company for about 2 years. I hosted for about 5 years. Okay. So I really that's also how I got into being comfortable on the mic, being a good host, because I was always hella quiet. I had to get a few drinks in me and shit first before I could be cool on the mic. So that really helped me, and I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely be a host for this shit. Klyph does it. So I was like, yeah, man, I would just love to host a night. Maybe spin some stuff in between, but just put a few artists on that are my homies, and do like you guys were doing the same thing. You put a producer on, and you put a producer on some vocalists, like get a little bit of everything. Yeah. So that was just kind of the main idea. And I also wanted it to be in an area of town that doesn't really get as many shows, because I didn't want to like cramp the style of, of downtown or like inner eastern Portland. I feel like there's a lot of good joints over there. So I tried to bring it somewhere that doesn't have as many like stuff going down. And the 2 nights, the 2 months that I had that, people did come up like, man, we never get hip hop shows out here. This is dope. Like we never get anything out here. So that was nice. But yeah, that was really it. It was just, I told the bar, I was like, you guys don't have to pay me anything for these first 2 months. I just want to prove that I can like bring you something good. If something good comes of it, yeah, feel free to throw me something, but I don't expect it. And I was paying the artist out of my pocket. Like that was the other thing. I was like, I want these guys to get paid, guaranteed. I want them to have a bar tab if they want it. I want them to like, everything to be nice and easy. And yeah, and it worked out. And then the second month, the bar paid me because they're like, man, it's going great. Here, pay those guys, nicely. So it was dope. It worked out nicely. And again, I'm not asking for money, but I know that I can prove myself. Then you'll be like, this is worth it.
No doubt. Well, as seeing the success that you had, seeing how a vision that you had came to fruition, depending on what things look like after the fact, I mean, there's so much that needs to be rebuilt. To a certain degree, even physical locations need to be rebuilt. We need to build the comfort of being in one another's company again after the illness that's spread. Just if things come back to where we can do live events, do you feel like you'll bring Cold Chillin' back?
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely think I will. And I think that, sitting on it for a little bit, I've been able to think about, because going right into it, I had a lot of certain ideas. Like I wanted it to be more of like almost like a sit down talk show host for part of it. And I think I've kind of evolved that into, I don't know. I have some other ideas of what I want to make it work. Something, because I think it's a balance of me being selfish with my ideas and being like, I think this would be dope, but it's like, will it work with everyone else? Will anyone else?
Right.
So I've got to find a balance of what will actually work at a show, but will also give me the satisfaction of me doing what I want to do. So yeah, I'm definitely going to bring it back. And NWIPA is still open if people are, if you're going into shops, local shops getting what you need, they're keeping shit sanitary, and go in there with your mask and get some beer to go for sure. Support them. But I go say what's up with them to them, every once in a while, and just check in, make sure they're doing good. But yeah, definitely gonna do that again.
No doubt, man. I had an opportunity to have Majestic Sage on Welcome to the Neighborhood a couple weeks ago, and working on doing some more with them. But Majestic slid me one of the joints before the album dropped that you did for them, bro. Just so cool for me to hear, because of how much I love your production. You know what I'm saying? It's also cool for me to hear people rhyming on your or singing on your tracks, man. What's the connect with you and Majestic Sage?
Man, that was just like an internet contest thing that all came together nicely. It was PDX Black Excellence. I don't know who actually runs that page, but they put together a flip and flow challenge that was like, they had some chants from the Portland protests, and there was like, you just got to put the chants into a beat and you submit the beat. So I submitted something and got in the top 3 or whatever. And then the second part of the contest was artists hop on whatever beat you pick and then submit that. So they picked mine, and I think there might have been another one that was also on that beat, but it definitely did not pop off like theirs did. And I had to reach out, like, I think it was because they did like a live stream thing with like OG1 and stuff, just like a Zoom thing. And I was there, and I was like in the chat, I'm like, we got to put this out. Like, this has got to be a track. Like, don't lose contact. So we connected just from there. And like, I was like, if you hit me with the vocals, I got someone that can mix and master it. If you guys want to figure out the artwork, and then we'll just boom bam. And yeah, it was dope. And I'm gonna send them some more stuff, because yeah, like they said, they're like, this isn't our typical thing either. Like they said, it's like the Killer Bees sound. It's got that Wu-Tang sound. So they're down to do some more tracks like that, some more grimy stuff. So I'm definitely gonna do more things with them. But that's just like that cool natural connection where it's just like, if I didn't say, because I almost was like, maybe I shouldn't enter this. Like, what will come of it? And then that came of it. So it's just one of those things where sometimes if you just do a small thing, it'll build into tons of other things.
That's what's up, bro. It's funny because those are some of the things that I've tried to do with DJ Klyph Productions. Everything from sort of how I schedule guests on Welcome to the Neighborhood, having certain people on lineups at mic check. You see these collaborations come from people who oftentimes are fans of other folk, or just maybe never even knew that this person was an artist. And then, months later you see something come of that. And I think that's one of the things that's beautiful about being a part of a community. So I'm glad that connection happened, and excited to see what else you guys put together.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, in terms of art, do you do art like visual art as well? Like the artwork on your projects is always pretty cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I do I'm pretty sure I've done all the artwork on my own projects. Wow. So yeah, I originally I was super into visual art as a kid, drawing and stuff. I've always been colorblind, so that's why that first album is called Colorblind Instrumentals. So I suck with colors. I can't mix paints or anything. I'm good with like cans and shit, but I can't do acrylics and stuff. So I'm very either like sculptures and clay. I love doing ceramics and clay. Like that was my jam for a while. So like all through high school, I was super artsy in that aspect. And then I went to college in Montana to become an art teacher. And then only like with a combination of getting into music while I was in college, like producing and meeting my friend David, I also was shadowing my art teacher, who was like one of my biggest idols. And he's so cool But he was also telling me, it's going to be hard for you to become an art teacher colorblind because you're going to have to teach color theory at some point. And like, if you can't, that's going to be trouble. So like, it wasn't impossible for me to become an art teacher, but that really put a damper on it as I was like in college for it. Yeah. So I just, I kept grinding at school for a little bit, but as I got into more into music, I'm like, I should just do music. So I dropped out of college like halfway through and had to, pay that off eventually. But I'm happy that I pursued music instead. So yeah, so I've still drawn a little bit here and there. And I've always, I do a lot of photoshopping stuff too. I've always had fun with that because that also doesn't involve painting. So, but yeah, I've done all my own artwork. I'll sometimes just draw it out in black and white and then, take a picture of it and put it into my Photoshop and just mess with it. But it's very tedious for me. I'm not like super good at just knocking stuff out. I'll go in, work on stuff for a little bit and just make small edits. And it'll take me a month to like work on artwork, but it's just because I'll just go in and tinker with it every once in a while.
That's what's up.
So yeah, and I've been trying to do that more, especially in the last year or two, just drawing and all these. I have a bunch of singles that I'm going to try and put out throughout the year too. And I've been doing like all the artwork for those too. So I really like doing as much of this stuff as I can. Not the engineering. I'm not an engineer, and I love my friends that are good at engineering. I stick to them, and I will pay them for their job.
No doubt, man. For me, listening to the music that you make and some of my other favorite producers, it does two things for me. One, it makes me want to start making beats again. And then two, it makes me go, yeah, no, I shouldn't do that.
Oh man.
So you're inspiring sort of in a broad spectrum.
For sure.
It's good to hear that you have stuff already on deck for the new year. One of the other things I wanted to mention was I noticed, right now it's so cool that we're able to stay connected to a certain degree via video conferencing and maintain social distancing. But in terms of utilizing the internet for just connecting with people or sharing your art, like that's not just post-pandemic for you or during the pandemic for you. I mean, that's something that you were doing anyway in terms of like being on Instagram and making beats and this, that, and the third and connecting with folk. You've really utilized all the tools available to you for your art, which I think is dope. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would not be anywhere in the community that I am now without using Instagram and stuff. And again, like, a lot of the stuff, it's a single message where I'm like, should I send this or should I not send it? And then, but when I do send it, it's totally worth it. And whatever comes of it, and like, if anything, it's that person now knows that I do appreciate their art and that I did reach out to them so that, a few years down the line, if they hear about me or something, and then, I've had people reach out to me later on and it's, then you see the previous message. It was me reaching out to them a few years back about stuff. So it's just, it's all in good time. And again, yeah, Instagram has been the way I've been connecting with all of these artists. Like anyone that I've been working on music with over the last few years was probably through Instagram.
That's what's up, bro. So, we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, man, and the idea, the concept of, looking at top albums. I saw someone post something recently that really resonated with me. I know that in everything, whether it be music or sports or whatever the case may be, there's always like, okay, who are the top whatever? And it's always such a hard thing because there are so many things that go into that, generations, subgenres, whatever the case may be, right? And for me, it's hard, especially being a curator, because there's, I get access to so much music. And at the end of the day, it's really all very subjective. No matter how objective we try to be about it, it truly is what speaks to you as an individual. So, and then I think it's hard because people feel slighted if they're not included in the top whatever. But it's all subjective. At any rate, so if I were to say, what are your favorite projects from 2020?
Well, it's funny because I went back through my list because I wanted to double check to make sure nothing that I thought was my favorite was from 2019. Because it turns out a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, that was my favorite. It was from 2019.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would definitely say Grand National, Twice on Sunday. That album is super dope.
Great project. Such a great project.
So that's awesome, and just and exciting that like that was their first project as a group. That like, man, it's only gonna go up from there. So
yeah,
that definitely the Shade Noir of Hollow Brown album, that was very dope. Like I said, Dante Thomas's album. Anything,
and you know what? But with that, man, it's funny. I haven't talked to Dante in a minute, and I remember when we first connected. I believe, shout out to Solomon, man. I mean,
crazy producer. That guy, I've been looking up to him since he was Stuart Villain, and I was just like, yo.
Right. And just like connected with so many great people. I'm 97% sure that Solomon introduced me to Dante. And I remember when I first heard Dante was just blown away by like how effortless his style is, like when he rhymes.
Yeah.
And then he introduced me to Boca. I think maybe they both introduced me to Boca. And what they're doing right now with Produce Organics, I think is pretty stinking amazing.
Dude, it's so amazing.
You know what I mean?
Shout out
But
to
just
Produce, yeah.
like the whole collective, I mean, everything that they're building is so dope. And it sounds cliche-ish, but it's been really organic to see it grow to where it is. And I agree to a certain degree that Dante is a bit underrated, not talked about like a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so in the cut, man. You know what I mean? He's not one of those artists who does a ton of self-promotion. He doesn't really, you don't really see him out there pushing stuff.
Yeah, the Apple thing kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So at any rate, much love to the whole Produce Organics crew.
Oh, hang on. My audio, let me just switch the audio real quick. I just lost you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Chopping it up with Surebert on this episode of Klyph Notes, talking about some of our favorite projects from 2019.
There we go.
And we were talking about Produce Organics and the whole collective, the whole crew.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, that's what's up. So Dante Thomas, who else are some of your favorites from
man, that did you peep that Dinner Party project?
No.
Oh, it was I think it's Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper, Ninth Wonder, and Kamasi Washington.
Okay, I know of it. I didn't delve into it.
It's hot. It's like 7 tracks. I think it's mostly instrumental. There might be some singing over it, but like that is super. That's the like, it's that I mean, it's all those artists combined into one. It's that jazzy, soulful, hard hitting stuff. So that was one that definitely like I vibed with really hard.
Okay. As I'm talking to you, it's funny that you mentioned that, you know, thinking about some of our favorite projects, and did it really release in 2020 or was it 2019? So I had to look real quick. One of my favorite projects of 2020 was the Young RJ Mega Ran project.
Oh man,
Two Hands Up. Just, oh my gosh, bro. Same thing, production, you know what I mean? Lyricism, content, just anyway, I have to shout that project out every time I get an opportunity.
Absolutely. And shout out to Mega Ran because he's the homie, man, and he's one of those people I connected through Instagram.
Word.
Yeah. So
okay.
Do you know a little bit about him before that album?
Yes, in that we connected somewhere through the radio show, and I was playing some of his joints, and when I heard he was doing a project with Young RJ, who I connected with earlier, and just a fan of, just, you know, the whole Slum Village Connect. So yeah, would play a lot of his stuff, but never like really built with him yet. Would love to.
Yeah. I connected him through some of my rapper friends that live out in Idaho. They're like, their group name is Dedicated Servers. They're kind of like the video game type rap. They call it, some people call it nerdcore, but I'm hesitant to use that name. But they, I found out about him through them and like heard one of his projects a few years back and reached out to him. I was like, yo, this album's super dope. I'd love to remix one of these songs. What's your thought? And he was like, yeah, man. He just sent me a pack of every acapella from the album and was like, get at it. And so yeah, if you go check out my Bandcamp, I got a airplane mode remix from Mega Ran. So
okay,
yeah, that guy's hella dope. And the fact that album just like, I think he has a lot of fans in his realm, like, but right. I think that he's got a lot of skills as an MC, and he's a great person. Like, he exudes happiness, and he deserves all of that stuff. So I'm really glad that album got like the love that it should have.
Yeah, absolutely. One more, another project that you really vibed with in 2020.
I mean, I liked the Sarok album. I feel like Sarok and Lyric Jones, both of those. You had both of them on your show recently, but those are both really hot albums.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I quickly became a fan of Sarok when I heard her for the first time, and it's like I said to her, was just waiting for. She's one of those artists where I'm always waiting for another song from her. So when the album came out, I was so ready for it. And then getting introduced to Lyric Jones and everything that she's doing, not just as an artist, but as a curator, and everything that she's doing for the art form, I've become just a huge fan of her as well. And then just in talking to both of them, just seem to be really good human beings, and that's always a plus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When people are just good people.
Definitely.
So, all right. So a couple of things a few things that people need to be looking for from Surebert in 2021. Let us know what's coming, B.
Well, I for sure have some singles that I will be dropping soon, just to kind of sprinkle throughout. I got one because, like I said, I love the Sandpeople. They are no more really the Sandpeople, but I was lucky enough to tour with Sape back in the day.
Love Sape.
And he's such a cool dude. And so, like, I've been in to work with Only on that track, and now I got one with I Am Me that we're gonna put out. So I'm trying to knock off every Sandpeople member. So I got a track with him that we're gonna put out. Lana Shea just hit me back with a really dope one. So we have one that I gotta still get engineered, but that I'm really excited about. My girl Eva Mendez is what I was gonna say. Eva Rhymes. Eva Rhymes she's out in Baltimore. I met her while on tour. She came on tour with me and some homies, and she's super dope, and we have one that's coming. So all those are singles that I'm working on. I have that Equipto project that I'm really excited about, but I'm not putting any time limits on that. It's just letting it flow. Also, what's dope about that is he's sending me samples. So he's sending me just amazing old jazz songs or soul songs that he likes, and I'm sending him back beats, and he's like, "This is crazy, man. No, this is crazy." So I just love blowing his mind with that shit all the time. So I'm working on that. Already got a Short But Sweet 4 pretty much figured out, just getting the feature recorded. I already got the artwork and everything. I'm working on another Sweet and Salty with Salt Fiend. That was super dope because that was the first time I ever worked with another producer. Other than like I did an album, me and Dave did an album that Sapient did some post-production on, but that was different. It wasn't as collaborative. So that was really cool to do that last year with Salt Fiend. He just sent me a bunch of drum tracks and I chopped up samples over them and did some instrumentation. And that was so fun that I'm like, hit me with some more. So he finally did. So I'm working on that. What else? Man, there's this dude, Yuck God, out of Portland. I'm working with him on a few things. Mike Moe, we're working on a collaborative producer project. I send him
shout out Mike
many samples, and he keeps hitting me. He'll hit me back at like 10 o'clock at night or midnight, and he's like, "Yo, man, I gotta tell you, these samples are gold mine. It's crazy." I'm like, I can't wait. So we're working on a bunch of stuff. What else? I'm trying to think if I have anything else. And my dude Vocab Slick from the Bay, we have a bunch of tracks that we're working on together. And another dope thing about not selling beats or anything, I gave him the beats. He happened to get some fire ass features from he got Zumbi from Zion I, And then he's got another track with 4 Eyes, which I'm super hyped on. Man,
That's the homie too.
Dude, and it was just one of those things where I'm like, dude, 4 Eyes. Like, I haven't heard that guy in a minute. Like, I love 4 Eyes. So
Yes.
I'm very excited about that type of stuff. Just like people hitting me with, me sending something off for a few months, and then I get hit back with something that's just crazy, like blows my expectations away. So those are all the things I'm really looking at right now. No shows planned, obviously. But yeah, I'm just going to keep working on more and more beats. And yeah, if anyone's an artist out there that's trying to work, especially in Portland, I'm down to chop it up.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. The homie Surebert. Yo, if people are not yet connected with you or following you on social media and they're hearing this stuff and they want to stay connected, what's the way that people should do that?
Yeah, definitely. Instagram's probably my most active spot. So I'm at Surebert, Surebert. I'm not really on Twitter or Facebook that much, but I'm sure you can find me on Surebert on those two. But yeah, pretty much anywhere if you search that name, I made the smart choice to pick a name that no one else had, so that I stay at the top of the Google results. So
absolutely. Well, bro, like I said, man, it's so dope to have an opportunity to just chop it like this, to have a conversation versus hollering at each other's at a show or at an event.
Yeah.
And once again, man, just thank you for continuing to make such good music, such great art. It makes what I do with the radio show that much easier.
Man, thank you for that. Like, it's crazy for people to, even in the smallest amounts, to compliment your music or dissect it in any way. It's humbling. Again, it's an honor. So hey, thanks so much, man.
Absolutely. The homie Surebert, man, be sure to follow him. There's so much stuff that we're looking forward to in the new year. Yeah, man, thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right, y'all. That's the first episode of the Klyph Notes podcast for 2021. A couple shout outs I got to give, man. Once again, check out the folk who support us, Akepele Apparel. They just released a new line of gear ready for the winter months with some dope sweats. The new logo, of course, is so dope. And there's some more things coming in 2021, so you should probably tap in right now. The line of clothing is dope. It's comfortable, cool design. So definitely check out Akepele Apparel, AKEPELE.com. Akepele is also, of course, on social media. Tap in with them. Let them know that you heard about them here on the Klyph Notes podcast. And of course, last but never ever least, big ups to the homie Theory Hazit for creating the official theme song for the Klyph Notes podcast. Check them out, theoryhazit.com. Also, check out the Klyph Notes podcast everywhere you listen to your podcast or at klyphnotes.com. We are also, we're everywhere on Audible, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, of course, the usual spots. And you can check me out on social media at DJ Klyph or at djklyph.com. And if you want to support what we do, man, you can check out the Patreon/DJ Klyph, DJKLYPH. All right, y'all. Until we have an opportunity to do this again, y'all be blessed. Peace.